Nehemiah is another great example of what it looks like to steward our privilege for the sake of the oppressed. And I think there's two ways that we see in the Bible we're called to steward our privilege for the sake of the oppressed. The first way Nehemiah shows us is he stewards his privilege by taking it up and leveraging it for the sake of the oppressed. We see that in chapter 2, when he shares with the king what's going on in Jerusalem, and he asks the king to help him and to give him resources so that they can rebuild the wall. You see how he's using his access to the king to get resources for the people, oppressed people in Jerusalem, so that they can build the wall. But look what he does in verse 4. It says, if it please the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's graves, that I may rebuild it. Here we see the second way that we steward our privilege. Nehemiah lays his privilege down for the sake of the oppressed. He chooses to leave his position, to leave his access to the king, to leave the comforts of his home, to leave the security of Susa and all that he knows, to go to Jerusalem, this city without walls or gates that lies in absolute rubble. The two ways to steward privilege is to take it up for the sake of the oppressed and to lay it down in solidarity with those who are suffering. Unfortunately, that is not the way most of us have responded to the advantages that God has given us. And for those of us who are white, this is not the way that most of us have responded to our white privilege. You see, instead of using our voice and social capital to advocate for the oppressed, many of us have used our voice to deny that such privilege even exists. See how that's the exact opposite of what God gives us a voice for? We use our privilege to deny its existence.